For the past few months, I have been actually reverse mentored by genZs. Reverse mentoring is a concept that I didn't create. I was inspired to be reverse mentored when I was in a class, an authentic leadership class, and I was introduced to the concept. So I said, let me put it into practice. So joining me today is Purvi, Ken, and Krupa, who have agreed to be our reverse mentors, my reverse mentors for the past period. And we're going to be sharing a lot of our experience and what were our best moments and why do we encourage everybody to go through reverse mentoring. Krupa?
Well, honestly, I never knew you as a person as well. Like obviously I came across you on the campus a few times, but then Gait kindly introduced us, and I do hold him in high regards because of a lot of startup stuff, entrepreneurial stuff that we have gone through, and coming through that and knowing what you're doing, that itself sparked a light in me. I'm like, oh, someone wants to learn from me. And in my life, a lot of people have given like a lot of insights for free, sometimes even unasked. So that's something that I do even normally. But it was in a way, in a sense that you kind of framed it up where you being so established in your career, you coming from a point where you have actually achieved and worked for so many years in a space that's thriving, such as hospitality, that itself was a brave moment, a very vulnerable thing. I'm like, okay, this woman has the courage to come up to a generation who's kind of infamous for the fact that we can be brutally honest at times, we can be tough to deal with at times. And I don't even deny those notions, because certainly we are different. Although we can be, cannot be rude, that's something we can decipher up later. But that's just a fact that kind of got me attracted towards this entire setup. And then I had a word with you, and you seemed really authentic, really genuine about
Thank you.
wanting to learn through this, wanting to kind of.
I showed up on the sessions.
Exactly.
So I did show up on the
Yeah.
sessions. This is good, a good sign.
You showed up, and you showed up with genuine curiosity.
Correct, yeah.
That's the best part about it. Like, you let yourself be vulnerable, and take it from me, it's not that easy to
Correct.
put yourself
Of
up
course,
there.
yeah.
So that's pretty much where I
Yeah.
got in love with this entire concept, and I got in love with you. So here we are.
Thank you so much. I mean, I genuinely as well, we're going to be talking all about our highlights very shortly. So what made you make the decision to actually, I mean, give your time, your effort, prepare presentations, put me in the spotlight? What made you want to do that?
Well, so unlike Krupa and Ken, so they were recommended to you by Guide, but I saw your post on LinkedIn and I was
Yes.
like, that sounds really cool. Like, you know, the concept of reverse mentoring, I had never heard of it. So number one, I just went and Googled it because I was like, am I
Oh my
crazy
God.
to not know what this is? And then when I looked it up and I was like, somebody who's as accomplished as you are is looking for somebody younger to help you out to understand our generation. First of all, that's like, and it's amazingly humble of you to try to understand what goes on in our minds and how do we work. So that was one thing I was really attracted to. And then secondly, I love the fact that we went to the same school. We did a master's
Yes.
together. And so I was like, I want to learn more, you know, from somebody who's already accomplished, who's seen enough to the fact that she's doing an executive MBA. So, and I was like, this is my opportunity to learn from you. So I wanted to show up for you and then, you know, imbibe whatever I could from you as well. And then when I spoke to you for the first time in like the sort of the screening interviews of sorts that we had, I was like, this is
thumbs
it.
up. Yeah, we
be-
agreed. Actually, I learned from you so much more. With
thank you
all
so
the
much.
with all the spotlight that you put me under, and with all the slangs and the acronyms that you made me learn, and all the technology.
Yeah. I hope it comes in handy though.
Yes. I use some of it.
I hope you can flex it sometime.
Of course, I'm going to flex all the knowledge. So flex is apparently a Gen Z acronym, right? Or
Yeah,
a
it's a
slang.
slang.
It's a slang. So showing it off.
Yeah, exactly.
See?
You've got it.
I
I'm so proud of me. You remember this.
Great. Ken. I mean, our sessions were so exciting. I love your vulnerability. I love how authentic you were, and you challenged the status quo. So we have that together. What made you decide to actually reverse mentor a millennial?
So for me, I think there's two parts to it, right? One is about me and one is about you. So we'll start with part about me. Recently, like the past year or so, I'm historically more of a solo person, to be honest. But I've gotten more of an interest in other people and how they think and seeing what they can do, things like that.
Yeah.
And so I also started to want to test some of the theories that I had.
Okay.
I mean, you know me, I'm kind of young. What do I know, to be honest? But even so,
You know so much. At least
Wait,
I know
wait,
from my
wait.
sessions.
I attest.
We all agree.
anyways, I also wanted to run my understanding through you and see and present my ideas to you and see what you, as someone who has much more experience than I do, think of it. I think that my ideas have merit. And I also want to find out whether other people think that my ideas have merit. Now about you, I didn't really do as deep of a dive through your profile like the other two did.
Yes.
Instead, I kind of just relied on my senses for our first meeting. When I heard of reverse mentorship, the first thing that came to mind, there's this Japanese concept called shoshin. It translates to beginner's mind. And the idea is essentially that as an expert, you have this preconceived notion. If you give an expert a situation, they'll think, this is how we navigate the situation. And they're right. But if you give a beginner the same situation, they don't know anything. So all they see are possibilities. The idea of shoshin, beginner's mind, is that we must always have the mind of a beginner and open ourselves to new possibilities. When I heard of reverse mentorship, this is exactly what I thought. Learning from someone who is kind of untainted by experience. And I thought that someone who understands this and comes to me, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, our sessions were fun. We did a session in a coffee shop.
Oh, that's
And
so
then
cool.
I shared with him a cool drink. I mean, coconut with matcha I had, and he had his own coffee. So yeah.
Soumana finished
I
the drink
was-
in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I drink very fast my matcha
I
cold
hope it was
latte.
better than the dragon fruit latte, though.
Dragon fruit latte?
It's alright, it's fine.
I can't remember that.
He doesn't remember because we've
Bad
had a
memory.
very recent.
But the fact that you had a matcha, we approve of you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gen Z approved.
Gen Z approved. So
100%.
matcha is one of my favorite drinks. So I'm
good.
Gen Z approved.
100%,
Very
yes.
good. Excellent.
You're in the trend.
Yes, I'm in the trend. Very good. Great. So, I mean, people think of Gen Z as just like your TikTokers, right? And then when I had all these discussions and experiences with you and then interactions, I saw so much depth in what you do and how you look at things. So I want to just throw in the concept of your career aspirations, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you view careers? Because this was one of the learnings that I've had, and being a leadership coach, it's very eye-opening for me because eventually I'll be coaching leaders who will also be leading Gen Z. So that was very insightful for me.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, I wouldn't even disagree to the fact that a lot of Gen Zs are TikTokers, because this entire concept of dividing generations, like I previously mentioned, across a lot many avenues, it wasn't that famous. Like, we didn't know who Gen X, Millennials, Boomers,
Exactly.
Alpha was before COVID.
100%.
And TikTok became a big thing in COVID itself. So that's pretty much also where this entire notion of Gen Zs being who they are, or Gen Zs being authentic to the traits people have sort of observed we have, has come from there. So I don't even disagree to the fact where you say that a lot of Gen Z is equal to, the TikTok,
But it's
Instagram
not only
influence
that.
generation. But it's not that. But in a way, if I add to it, we have also used the same thing to our advantage in a way.
Absolutely.
But then we take the same model and we apply it to, let's say, entrepreneurship, we apply it to, let's say, leadership, we apply it to music production, we apply it to anything that's creative, non-creative, financial, strategic, be it anything. But that same TikTok model has gotten adopted and it has gotten multiplied and varied and taken up, broken up into so many pieces and parts that now we completely have a different modus operandi around any industry.
Absolutely. So you apply that concept
Yeah.
in everything that you
Exactly.
have. So this is where I see depth in your knowledge, you know, and then
Yes.
in application
Yeah.
of, and I mean in the discussions that I've had with all of you, I have seen that you really apply practicality
Yeah.
in what you do. There is always practicality. So
True.
This is really like a,
And even
correct.
the career pathways have changed, right? Like tech was a big thing before. Finance was a big thing. Finance still is a big thing. I wouldn't lie on that front because finance, if we see, it has also been one of the fields that has very quickly adopted to the shift in generational wants and demands. If you see the JP Morgans, if you see the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs of the world, the Deloittes of the world, they have started the graduate programs. They have started
Correct.
getting in that generation, making that shift, you know, having the leadership styles and stuff like that. So that's not completely phased out, but then we also see other things gain value. Like, for example, since you are a millennial, government jobs kind of lost their charm and appearance for the millennials. It was a very, very big thing for my parents, the generation before them. Like, if you have a government job, wallah, you're settled. You're like done for life, you're good. Millennials, they came, they started aiming for like tech stuff, they started aiming for stuff differently in different fields. IT was a big thing that then happened, the entire boom. But then with the Gen Zs, government has again become like public policy, public sector has again become a favorable choice. Why? Because it helps us create the impact we want to.
Correct.
Entrepreneurship has obviously gained boom because it gives us the independence, it helps us kind of, and there are so many resources to also start your own idea nowadays. So it's like
Correct.
very accessible on that front. But there are also like newer sectors, aerospace, influencing, content creation. All of the creative side has also kind of become a great career choice. So I guess, yeah, there's a lot of different career options that we kind of get attracted to nowadays.
Yeah. What about your input, Ken, on that? I mean, we've had some discussions on leadership and careers, and it could be actually leadership and careers. Like, what would be your insight on helping? I mean, everybody who's going to be watching us to really understand what would Generation Z want to have as a leadership culture, or what career aspirations do they have for the future? Because it's not traditional anymore.
There's something that I picked up from what Krupa said, which is the push towards entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
I have never had an interest in entrepreneurship, but I went to a business school all my life.
Yeah.
And it feels like all of my professors are pushing me towards entrepreneurship. There's the business club, and then there's the entrepreneurship club, which has like way higher membership.
Yes.
And it's like everybody wants to start their own business.
Yeah.
In a way, I feel like entrepreneurship, much like leadership, has almost become a buzzword. Not everyone should be a leader. I'm not saying that not everyone has the skills to be a leader, but in terms of, if you think about it logistically speaking, we cannot all be leaders.
Yeah.
That's just disaster. Similarly, not everyone should be entrepreneurs, and not everyone should dream of being entrepreneurs. I think that a lot of these kind of career trends, they're almost becoming like fashion trends. Like, I see other people wearing that. I want to wear that too.
So what would be your best career choice? Like, if you would have a choice, maybe you don't have an answer for it, but just to really like make it clear for everybody, like if entrepreneurship is not for you, would you want to be part of a different type of structure or different type of setup? Like, what would be the ideal one for you if you have like a button now to just put like, what's my dream?
Right. So I'm going to steal a line from one of my professors,
Yeah.
Professor Joel Littman. He said that when you think of what you want this is paraphrase. When
Yeah.
you think of a dream job, first you have to define what wealth means to you.
Yes.
Is it just money?
Absolutely.
Is it work-life balance?
Absolutely.
Is it the geographical location? This and that. If you can't define what wealth means to you, you cannot find a dream job. Now for me personally, money is pretty high up there. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine.
I love the
Like,
honesty.
I'm going to be a CEO and I'm going to have a company-sponsored private jet and whatnot. Actually, private jet's kind of going down in the...
The ranking.
Is it in your
it's a
ranking?
bad
So you don't
English
want to
nowadays.
have a private jet?
I think I should probably aim for other things. Private jets kind of
Just-
back in the days
Just
now.
because you want to be sustainable.
Yeah, so exactly. So your value system is different.
That's
Your value
a bit of a
system is
different class.
sustainability.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That's very good. What about you? I mean, we've had a lot of discussions,
Yeah.
and I kind of, I mean, I was very impressed with how do you really look at life yourself.
Oh, thank you.
So you want to share?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I think in a way I'm a slightly different from Krupa and Ken because I am technically a Gen Z, but I am also very millennial, and apparently the term for that is a zillennial because
Yeah, maybe I'm a zillennial. I always want to say
Yeah.
that as well.
I think so too. Honestly, I think so too. Because we also did that exercise, and a lot of your answers were either like borderline Gen Z millennial all the time. I
Yeah,
think
so
you're
she
a
made me
millennial.
work just to let you know.
You
She
can
made me
fit
do
in
a
the
lot of
category,
exercises. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think you're a zillennial too, and for anybody who's watching doesn't know what that is, it's just that feeling like you're a Gen Z but stuck in the millennial era in a way because I grew up around an environment where I was told that having the core millennial values is what is the right way to go. So for me, when I grew up, I also thought that the classic way to think about your career is doctor, lawyer, engineer. Like entrepreneurship wasn't really like up there. But now that I think about it, like Krupa said, the career paths are changing. But what I also love to watch is how, in a way, they're changing that the umbrella remains the same. You are still going to be, for example, the finance guy. But, okay, so I'll give you an example. I work with this venture builder, and we get a lot of interns, and I do the recruitment. So I do the recruitment for the interns and also for the a little senior level positions as well. And I can see the aspirational difference, right? And one of the interns just yesterday told me that he wants to do I can't even remember what he said, to be honest, but he basically wants to basically like use coding to trade. And that just blew my mind. Like, what do you mean? How can you use coding to trade? But like, that's apparently a very cool thing to do now. So what I have really realized after talking to so many Gen Z interns and other recruits, I realized that they're very aspirational, and they don't want to be bound by your certain confines of what a job description should be.
And this is exactly what I picked up from all our discussions.
Yeah.
Like all our discussions were like, we don't accept no for an answer.
Yeah.
And then we are actually very visionary. So if
Yeah.
I would want to say like few words about our discussions, and then your mentorship is like for me, the word is nurturing, because you actually like nurtured in me more and more that kind of push through. It's like, if this doesn't work, we try something else. And if this doesn't work, we try something else. And we don't have to have any ego in actually like if it did not work. So we keep on trying, and that's really cool, and it's fine. And yes, I mean, that's a very good good thing
thank
to
you.
bring up. That's
Yeah,
correct.
thank you.
And honestly, that's also come from the way just the civilization has sort of evolved. I don't know if civilization is even the right word to use here, but it's just the way that we now see things happen, where you say that, if this doesn't happen, we are okay with doing something else, trying it again and again and
Exactly.
again till we hit the dot. It's probably because there's this acceptance, there's this awareness around mental health, and that's also one of the priorities we as a generation have.
100%.
It's
And
not
that was
work
one
for
of
us
the
anymore,
Yeah, of
And
course,
I-
and having the right
Exactly.
mind frame, being in a culture where well-being is really highly
Yeah,
regarded.
true.
Like
And we regard ourselves very highly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I remember talking to you also about this, that our generation is very reactionary also. It's not just that we are creating our own trends, but we see what's happened with your generation, with the millennials, having the hustle culture and, boasting about the hustle culture, but then having your mental health go down the drain. And we see that, and we don't want to be there. So we've realized that we want to take charge of our own lives, and which is why I also think the concept of social impact and social conscience is so strong amongst us. Like our future CEO has already declined
exactly about
private jet.
sustainability. So he's like,
Yeah.
exactly. So you carry really like the words that are
Yeah.
kind of trendy at the moment. You really carry it to the heart, and you don't have to make a big
Mess about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You just like do it naturally, right?
Yeah,
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of reminds me of an anecdote I heard a while back. This is one of my favorite
Yeah.
ones, where the interviewer, who I believe is about Gen X, was interviewing a younger candidate. I don't remember the generation, doesn't matter. Anyways, and the candidate was commenting on how they wanted a job where they could feel like they're making a difference.
Yes, you know, there
And-
is a
Yeah.
purpose behind what they do.
And the interviewer just like kind of blew their mind, like, this is not this is not the answer that fresh graduates are supposed to give. Fresh graduates should be saying, I would
would
love
too.
to have this job.
Yeah.
I would do anything for an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just building on that, like it refreshes me of so many interviews I've given off lately at the bigger firms.
She's very famous with interviews at the moment.
Yeah, it's because it's so recent to me that
Yes.
all these, the way he describes, I'm like, oh, I was in the same position a while back. But it's so true. Even today, like people, especially since, just to give a background, I'm more into like finance and stuff like
Yeah.
that, more on the VC side of things. So stuff can be a little traditional for me still at times. It's still the same mentality. People, when you're like beginning out, or if you boast a lot of experience when you're young, so a lot of people take me lightly on that front, and a lot of other people that I know as well, like, oh, you guys are just like fresh master graduates. What do you expect? What do you feel? We're gonna give you like decision making?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't fool yourselves. And I'm like, so where do I have to go to actually get what I want? And the answer to that is startups.
Exactly.
And the
Okay,
answer
so
to
that's
that,
why it happens.
yeah. A lot of the ecosystems around startups, like Raha Beach as well. I've been with Raha Beach previously. I know Meg personally. I know the culture she's built there. And it's the perfect place for any kind of next gen person to thrive. And this is also a call for the traditional settings to actually stop for a moment and evaluate. Because we as a generation, Gen Zs will still exist. But the generation that's coming next, which is known as the Gen Alpha, trust me, I can't understand them at times.
Okay.
I'm sure these guys can't understand them at times. They are going to be 10x more disruptive than we are. So if we are transitioning into that, we really need to be aware, or else all the future planning, all the legacy planning, that's going to be of no use.
Exactly. But the whole thing is about having the awareness that you need to have all the generations
Yeah.
working together.
Yeah.
Like this whole separation of generation by
Exactly.
generation needs to really be looked into from a leadership perspective, and having that kind of culture that can accept everybody, that has a place for everybody, where everybody's ideas are welcome. And then, I mean, for me, growth mindset probably is overused, but this growth is one of my top values, hence reverse mentoring, hence reading, hence wanting to really like learn more. So I'm probably curiosity maybe is the right word. So everybody needs to be accepting of what will be the future, or else we're not setting ourselves up for success. So let's go back to the fun part. Okay. And then I want to have like some highlights from we need to share with everybody who's going to be watching us. What were some of the highlights or things that you remember that were like so much fun? It can be fun, it can be dramatic, it's up to you. From our sessions, like what was something that you're like, oh, I didn't know that this is how they think. I have some about you, but I want you to start. Maybe let's start with Ken. Yeah.
To me, the one that comes to mind is when I was telling my favorite story about the race cars, if you remember.
Yes, of course.
So the story goes that this truly is one of my favorite stories, by the way.
But this
I'm
is
hyping this up
yes,
because it deserves to
but
be hyped.
everybody please listen to this story
Yes.
because it's so inspiring.
So when I was a kid, I watched this Chinese cartoon about like elementary school kids playing with remote controlled race cars, and then they play in teams of 3, and then the main character has a twin brother. He's like the second main character, and one day the younger twin was telling the main character, "Why should you be the leader? I'm better than you. I should be the leader." And so the main character said, "Okay, let's compete. Next week, find a partner, we'll do a 2-on-2. So a week passes. The younger twin brings one of their good rivals, who's also a younger brother, to say, "Yeah, I get it. Older brothers, they're the worst." Anyways, and then they find the older brother, and the older brother says, "Here's my partner." And he brings literally their coach as his partner. And then the older brother asks the younger brother, it's like, "In my team, I'm the leader. In your team, who's the leader?" And the younger brother looks at his partner and is like, well, I guess I'm the lead since this is kind of my fight. He's like, yeah, sure. Anyways, they race, and throughout the whole race, the older brother would go like, coach, do this, do that, do this like here. And the coach would go like, yes, captain, yes, captain. And eventually they win. And then the older brother goes to the younger brother and says, do you understand why we had that race? Between me and the coach, obviously the coach is way better than I am. Why did he listen to everything I say? It's because I'm the leader. Being a leader isn't about who's better or who's worse. It's just a job. Anyways, I was like 12 years old when I watched this, and I was like, oh my god, it's the greatest thing ever. Anyways, the reason why I'm bringing this story here is that when I was telling this story to Soumana, I remember the moment was when I said, the part where the older brother goes like, because I'm the leader, I could see like Soumana's expression change, like she instantly gets it.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah.
Thanks God, yeah. Especially like because I'm an advocate of self-leadership as well, right? So like people who would have a high level of self-leadership, they will definitely understand like leadership is something that is very dear to my heart. So yeah, I get it. And he was like, I could see his eyes like open up. Actually, this was one of my favorites, but I'll keep the second one to share.
I rewatch this episode like once a year at least. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's really nice.
I'll send it to you. It's in Chinese though.
Should I
It's
share?
okay.
Should I share
so good.
the highlight, or maybe I'll share it later about all of you? Great. So shall we pass on to you?
Sure. So I think my highlight, I think I have two. One is when we just started out, and initially when I was starting to tell you how, that like I feel like as a millennial, I'm in the middle of the two, and I could just feel that you really relate, and I felt that sort of validation, and I was like, that's really cool, having somebody else relate to where I come from, and then also it's not just the millennial part, but also the Gen Z part, because you were getting everything like hands on.
I mean, except the other slangs. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, and except for that, like you were pretty much at it already. So I don't think there was much that I could have added value to, but I hope I did. So that is one. And the second one is the slangs, because that was the only moment. So when I was like, I don't know.
I was like, I don't know. And she had like all these slangs on the, I mean, I really like admire also all your prep. Everybody's discussion was like different. So we would have a chat, we would catch up, and then you would be like, somebody's preparing. What do we want to talk about today?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I
You're
hope
going to
the
test
PPT
me?
You never know.
Oh my God. We're going to keep like the last moment for free discussion, and she's probably going to test me.
Well, now that I hear them, I feel that maybe ours were the most unstructured, the
Yeah, we
most
had so much
conversational.
unstructured, and I loved that
Because like
as well.
we were flowing from here to there in a moment of time.
We were
but,
traveling. We were discussing tourism at some
At
point.
some point we discussed in hospitality
Yeah.
for real and like how Gen Z's. But actually, that's also one of my favorite parts that I was going to highlight, because I come, as like I said, I have no background in hospitality, and you have been there for a while, and I had the guts to just come to you and start discussing about how Gen Z is
That is so Gen Z of you.
That is so Gen Z.
like changing the hospitality industry and stuff. And
But
like,
we
you know,
actually bounced a lot of good ideas.
Yeah,
Because we were talking
and-
about experiential hospitality, which I
Cool.
am a very big fan of as a person outside of being in the hospitality.
And then
so we were
you
thinking,
use,
how can it change?
Exactly, and then you pointed out the Oriental Express and all the
Orient
favorite sponsors. And
Express, yeah.
actually, I legit like I went back and I googled like what is this?
Yeah.
Because
I like to go on a train, so
Yeah.
I haven't been like on a hotel style train.
Yeah,
we
so
spoke about
that was the most fun part, because
the
I
Six
actually got
Senses.
some new spots
Yeah.
to get to.
and Six
So,
Senses. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, we spoke
that's
about-
the best part.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because I didn't feel like, oh, I'm talking to someone who's like a veteran in this space. It's like you were actually getting it, you're bouncing off thoughts. It did feel like a session wherein you were accepting of what's kind of happening, where someone coming from, and at the same time you also showcased the insights that you have gathered from being in the space as to what do you know about what's happening. And I got some new spots to go to, so it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
Yes, exactly. She's gonna travel. Yeah, that's really cool.
That's the real priority.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for me, I've like all what you have shared were really like very
Yeah.
insightful, and I really carried them to heart. A few more that I've actually encountered was with Can. When we discussed about your input, I mean, making sure that there is like this is a safe space for you to really put all your input out, and then really like be the Ken that you are, like, you know, like just putting your ideas out there, just being like very straightforward, and actually like on the terms of communication, because for me it was like, how do you guys communicate versus how the communication has been throughout the traditional way of what's the boundaries of communication, how do we like, when we went deep into what I was also sharing my own experience with all the messages that you get on LinkedIn and how do I reply, and you were sharing, and it was kind of like so nice and so insightful for me. So I really like thank you for bringing all this to my attention. So we had a very good discussion then.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes just a simple message on LinkedIn has so much strategy to it.
Yes,
Like,
I
what do you
feel
say?
you.
What do you
Yeah.
leave
I
out?
agree.
exactly.
And you have to
So-
workshop this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100 times
it's like
over.
5 iterations before like a 5-liner message goes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
true.
that was a highlight. Yeah. It's like we're having a Friends episode. I feel it's like I'm having like
orange
a
couch.
Friends. Yeah, exactly. With the orange couch, I was like looking at it.
Yeah. It's matching the vibes.
What about you? Let me think. Like for me, the most enthusiastic part was, was the technology part. So you made me feel, if there is anything that I have taken away from our discussions, there is an app or an AI for everything.
Everything. It's
So
absolutely.
I really
true.
like it was so insightful for me, other than of course like the slangs and what we have discussed, but also like to show me how do these apps work and what's the technology, and that was like kind of a big kind of eye opener for me. And there were some that I knew, but there were some that were actually new to me.
Yeah.
And that was really like a highlight, and the amount of time that you put to prepare them, because you strategize our sessions.
Yeah.
So I gave you the freedom, and then you strategize them. So that was really like so cool and so insightful for
Oh,
me.
you're welcome. I really wanted to make sure that you get like the most out of these
Yes.
sessions, because I know your time is very important, so is mine. So I wanted to make
So
sure
is
there
mine.
is
Yes.
a lot of
You know, like
No, of course.
I mean, no cap, no cap.
She's like, we are doing the 2 sessions today. She's combined
Yeah.
the 2 sessions. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I have time.
Okay, be
She's
honest,
like,
do you have a
we're on
slide
the
for
hour.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, I think it fit
that's how
well,
a
right?
very good mentor is.
Honestly, like me, I'm the kind of person I need to be so organized.
And
Otherwise, if I
structured.
don't have a structure, there's gonna be some wildfire somewhere.
So, self-awareness.
Yeah. And like, as for the apps, I was just thinking that because we live in such a convenience economy, we want to make sure everything is like done to perfection. Like, we want everything to be on a silver platter. So which is why I think AI is just such a big thing in our generation, and we're not afraid to leverage it. We're
Correct.
not afraid to dive in and try out different things.
Makes sense.
So I wanted you to also
Yes.
try out different
I
things.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
And with Krupa, I think we were also preparing very closely when we started. We were
Yeah.
preparing very closely for a panel.
True.
And then, the discussions around the hospitality part, which
Yeah,
we did
yeah.
very recently, was quite insightful for me. How
Yeah.
really we went into experientials and how you see things, and that was really good. But what I picked up from you before is like, I needed to prepare for this panel, and then we were discussing with
Yeah.
Krupa, and then I was taking notes like nonstop. I felt like I'm in a class, and I said, I'm writing. So I needed to seek her approval for so many things, and she was like approving what we're gonna be discussing and how do we see
know,
things.
that's
So
just-
you were strategizing with me. So I was like, I know. I'm
Yeah.
in awe to you, because that really helped me to kind of get it. Like we did the 2 sessions closer to each other. I think with the technology and this.
Yeah.
Later on, I had a session with Ken, but that was very close.
Yeah.
And then when we strategized and we put the notes and how do they think and this is how I think we
Yeah.
should discuss, it was like very insightful and we really had a very good panel.
Yeah.
We did.
I can
Yeah,
vouch
that's
for
really
that.
There was
It
so
a really good
you
panel.
attended it,
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah.
watched. So it was really good. But like back then, like I cannot really forget how I was taking all this these notes. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's really sweet of you. But like, if I get a moment, I want to talk about you here. It's just to the fact that, like I was saying earlier, I was just looking it up on Google, and it's a fact that General Electrics, they started off reverse mentorship as a formal thing back in 1990s.
Very
Wow.
good. Correct.
So that's like 30 years, approximately more or less to date. And yet it is such a concept which hasn't been popularized, which hasn't become mainstream, which isn't something that people are flexing about. So to the fact that we didn't even know of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I really applaud you
Thank you.
for being the person who's flexing about it right here in this podcast and making like noise around the same. Because you are the perfect advocate that anyone can ask for to get this change along and to drive it through.
Thank you.
So,
And
yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
and don't forget, like we did this reverse mentoring outside of any structure. We're not part of a company.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about it from my professor. I went to one of
True.
my professors, Professor Amit, and then I was asking a question, and he's like, "Yeah, but there is this concept," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I wanted to seek it, and then I did a post on LinkedIn, and then you replied, and there was so many applications and replies, and I had to really like accept. There are two other, mentors of mine who don't live. One lives between Dubai and Europe, and another one doesn't live here, so they're not with us here today. But there was so much.
But a shout
insights
out
of
to
that.
them as well.
Shout out to them,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. So that was of course. I mean, it was
No.
quite important, and being a strong believer in how an advocate to change and being change makers. Change makers doesn't happen by just. Talking about it, we need to really be active about it and listen to it.
100%.
Listen to our inner voice to really like highlight that.
So
Thank
if
you.
we had to ask, where do you want to take this from here to the next level? Like, what's the next step for you when it comes to
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yes.
bringing the change?
I mean, I will continue to talk about this podcast. We don't know if we're gonna carry it more. We said we're gonna have a reunion as a like kind of like thank you for all what we have done together, just to bring it out. I will still be discussing it on different channels. I will be talking about it in different forums. That's quite important to continue to do that. And then will I write more about it? I don't know. I mean, maybe a book. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it.
Absolutely.
But it's just about being an advocate to that and kind of maybe getting more experience and pushing other people to really like go through that experience and trying to speak more and more about it. And I hope corporates can take this like how this has been done, or even if they don't, if you're on a personal development journey outside of work, I would definitely recommend that somebody would get a reverse mentor and then push towards that. So for me, knowledge and skills and the whole idea of growth is not lateral. It's actually like it can happen in three. I in my book I speak about Rubik's cube. You are not one thing. You're like too many things, right? And this could be part of your learning, which I call it like euphoria of learning. So you're like basically having that good emotion. Yeah.
No, that's true. In fact, like that's also one thing that's been so formative in our journey, right? That the hierarchical sort of panels of learning that's broken down and it's become more fluid, and that's also a lot that's impacted. But it's like, if I'm to just conclude it by saying one fact, it's just not the older generations that need to adapt and know more and be more accepting of us. We as the coming generation also have the same responsibility,
Of course.
towards understanding where they are coming from, towards understanding why they are saying what they are saying, and kind of being somewhere in the middle where we can voice ourselves, but at the same time be humble about it, at the same time be genuine and not so,
And authentic.
Yeah.
Very good.
not so mean around the
Makes
same
sense. Yeah.
things.
So
Yeah.
it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
To do tango, yeah.
My martial arts teacher always said that, keep in mind that he has like 40 years more experience than we do. So I always questioned this, honestly. But he always said that you're teaching me too.
Yes, of
To the
course,
class.
of course, of course. Every single moment, of course.
It takes
That's a very
great
powerful.
humility to accept
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah, sometimes I wonder, are
100%.
you just saying that? Like,
I-
what
I-
can I possibly teach
No,
you?
of course you don't understand because you're teaching interactions, trigger points, maybe
Yeah.
things that you say you don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And patience. So much patience.
Yes.
I hope
Yeah.
not in our
You were thank you
showing
thank you
shade.
for being patient with me. Okay. I have some fireside chat questions.
Alright, well, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Remote or office?
Whew, remote or office?
Has to be
I
quick.
think hybrid is what most people like. I think if you pick full-time remote, you probably hate your office workers, to be honest. Hybrid.
So hybrid.
Yes.
Good. Saving or spending?
Investing.
Invest. Oh, you guys! Oh my god. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
That's a no-brainer for her.
Card or cash?
Card.
Texting or calling?
Texting, always. I don't pick up unknown calls.
Streaming or cable?
Streaming. I don't know if I have a cable connection.
That is such a Gen Z thing to say.
Like, I don't know how to plug that.
That, you don't know how to plug it?
Back at home, back in Bombay, when I was like in my schools, I did have a cable. It worked. There was like a cable guy that came and the channels that were loading,
So
but now
someone
I
plugged
don't.
it for you.
Yeah, so it's like it's nostalgia. It's not happening again. Yeah, now it's Netflix and chill, so not happening.
So I'm gonna give the floor back to you to actually ask me any questions. It could be fireside
cool.
chat. It could
Very
be
nice.
Most
You're
section.
like-
Ask my also.
No, I guess
So,
this can be like a part of.
from my side, I'm done now. I will leave it for you to just like put it in the spotlight.
Okay, no, I think it's going to be pretty easy for you because I know we had a really good time discussing this. So, Soumana, what does sus mean?
Oh my god. Sus is like something suspicious.
Yes,
So that's a slang. Yeah, something that is very
Yeah.
suspicious.
Exactly. And what is no cap?
No joke.
Yes.
Like no lies.
Yes.
No
Yes,
cap.
we've
I'm
got
telling you the
teacher.
truth.
I am such a proud teacher, so proud of you. You're getting, you're with us now.
Yeah.
We can sit
Yeah.
together.
Is this an exam?
I belong
through
to
though.
all generations. That's how I feel.
You're fluid.
It's good that she so she is it's good that she didn't ask me all the other hard slang.
No.
Yeah.
I was expecting a deck though.
A deck
Yeah.
of the slangs?
Whatever.
I'll give it to you. I have like 50.
No, for her, why for me?
Oh no, she has hers.
I have like 6 or 7.
I've given her.
Anything you want to ask
Okay.
or
Would you
put me
rather have a raise or better work flexibility?
work flexibility.
Okay. And this is more of a meta question. For advocating for reverse mentoring, would you say that you should find a Gen Z in the same organization or outside your organization?
It does not matter. It does not matter because depends. If you want to learn some skill sets that are applicable for your organization, it could be. If you want to do it like outside like a different reason, it can also be. The good thing about it is that you can have two. You can have one from within your
Yeah.
company and one from outside. Why not?
I like
Fair
that.
enough.
You know, because it's different experiences. We started at the same
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Anything else?
No,
Okay. Good. Not very hard, thank you.
it's not an exam.
Oh, we were still not done. We could have some hard
Yeah.
ones.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
She's strategizing.
Yeah, I'm thinking in my
The
brain.
CEO of our reverse mentorship is gonna speak.
So there's one this or that, and there's one just like one word answers that you can
Oh,
just
yeah,
throw
yeah.
off. So dating apps or matchmaking?
I love
We didn't that. Definitely not dating apps or matchmaking. I'm actually like a hopeful romantic. I want to just like meet somebody that kind of the traditional way. So neither.
That's really
All right,
nice.
that brings me to my next one then. Books or podcast?
You're asking this to an author.
Yes. She's put you on the spot.
Audiobook. Imagine.
What a response, Soumana. That was
Smart. I
That
like
was-
this.
yeah.
I like this.
a
All
good
right.
one.
Going out or chilling at home?
It depends. I don't know. Both.
Depends
Like
on
I
what.
like both. It depends on my energy, my current mood. Like I like
Okay.
both. Yeah.
Let's
If
go
she's
to
in
the-
Italy, then she's going out.
Yeah, I do go out, but I have my days where
Yeah.
I need to like recharge. Yeah.
Okay,
But
let's
I
do
like-
the one word things then. Most memorable Gen Z slang.
most memorable.
Gen Z slang, like your favorite one.
My favorite one is this one where you show off.
Come on.
Yes, it's right there.
Strength. I don't remember that.
It starts from F.
Fuzz? No.
Flexing?
Flex. Yes, flex.
Flex.
So I'm flexing my shoes.
Yes, yes. Get it.
Your best travel destination or the most favorite one.
I
Italy.
think everybody
Italy?
knows that.
Even Italy knows it's Italy.
All right. Best restaurant in Dubai. Or your
Best restaurant in Dubai. I like. There's a restaurant in called Maya Bay. It's
love Maya
Asian.
Bay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's actually one. Most of my ceremonial stuff are like when we graduated and I
Yeah.
went out for dinner with my family. I went to Maya Bay with my hat, and then birthday sometimes meeting. Yeah, I like that restaurant actually.
And it's right next to Il Boro, which has
Yes,
the best
and
cheesecake
yeah, I've been to the El
ever.
Boro in Tuscany. It's really
yeah,
nice.
which
Yeah,
people
it's
don't
Italian.
approve of.
Yeah, we like it.
It's all right. I'll let you know. But okay, the last one: heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
I like that.
Yeah, I
You
wear a
come
lot
into
of
the
heels,
gang.
but yeah, I like.
But I've
sneakers.
also seen you
by the
change
way,
into sneakers right
yeah.
after.
By the way, I was asked this question before. It was flip flops or heels,
Yeah.
and then I said heels. But between heels and sneakers, I choose sneakers. So
You're
you see, I
welcome.
was asked in this.
Saucy.
Yes, I was asked this
Nice.
question in one of the
No,
podcasts.
no, I welcome you to the gang. It's okay.
So you
Great.
don't like flip flops?
I prefer sneakers.
What about
That's the final
slippers?
answer.
What about slippers?
Slippers, yes, I wear slippers.
Yeah, slides are
Fine.
like okay. Flip flops are like they make lot of noise, like patch, patch, patch. Yeah.
Flip flop is like the lowest tier of all footwear.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Maybe I want to ask you, what's your go-to snack?
Oh my god. Okay, so there's this Indian snack. It's called vada pav, and I can live on it. Like it's a
I'm more of a
staple
samosa
Mumbai
person,
food, and I can live on it. It's too good.
Yeah.
Ask me this question.
What's your go-to snack?
This is my passion topic.
Cooking.
So, I mean, there's some that I like back home, but since we're in Dubai, I need to advertise this, honestly.
Yeah.
There's this Pringles flavored. It's not sold everywhere, but it's sold in the UK. It's sold here in Dubai. So it's paprika flavored Pringles. Try it. You will never regret
Paprika
it.
flavored.
I agree
Pringles.
with that.
It
I
is
agree with
the
that.
best
Pringles.
Pringles
Yeah.
you will ever taste in your life.
I
I
agree
gave
with that.
one
True.
to everyone
Everyone.
in school, aside from
Yeah.
a couple oddballs here and there. We don't talk about them. Everybody loved it. It's
That's
so
so insane.
good.
And if you have it with sour cream, it's even better.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Go-to snack?
I don't know if I have any.
Anything
lot of-
without fruits or berries.
Berries?
Yeah, I'm not a fruit person. I keep munching on like, but go to snack Oman chips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love popcorn. My go-to snack is
A
popcorn.
lot of
Okay, that's a
foxtails as
staple.
well. The makhan, what are makhanas? Fox nuts.
I guess it's fox,
Fox
nuts.
nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
too.
popped
Yeah.
fox nuts.
Yeah. That too. There's like a lot of things in my house. Because
Such an
apparently,
Indian
okay,
thing.
so fun fact, I don't eat onion and garlic. That's why he gave me the look
Yeah.
because
Or
since I
fruits or
don't eat.
berries. Or anything that's good for your body.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, what would be your personal advice, having gone through this experience? If you have one advice to whoever is going to be watching us, what would you actually advise them about the reverse mentoring, the experience? Like each one of you, if you can just share one advice.
Then I'll start.
Yeah.
When I first started, my biggest concern was that, okay, so I'm supposed to give Soumana an idea of what a Gen Z thinks like. And then my next thought was, wait, is my thoughts reflective of what Gen Z thinks like? Am I a normal Gen Z? Eventually, I started realizing that the point was that there is no such thing as a typical Gen Z. There's like
Exactly.
a Homer Simpsons episode about the Simpson car and whatnot, the Homer car. Anyways, so my advice to Gen Z is doing reverse mentoring is that don't worry about whether what you say is what everybody else thinks. You are Gen Z. What your opinions are Gen Z opinions by definition. Go for it.
That's amazing.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
+1.
I think mine is
Very-
on some similar lines that, yeah, you should just dive into it. I mean, definitely get to understand your audience. So, like the person that your mentee, who you're going to be mentoring, and what do they require from you, which is why I had like this whole structure of the sessions. But I think knowing the expectations is so important to be able to deliver, and then just dive in, like you said, don't second guess yourself. Just do it.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is definitely the fact that we need to understand that wherever we go, there's going to be 5 generations approximately that we are going to deal with, be it the workplace, be it a normal restaurant, be it anywhere that you go. So you can't really hold the boundaries of what category or what generation do you fall into. So never really fall into that trap of, we are this, we are that, and we are going to stick by this and that. Be authentic to your values. Wherever you go, do have a thought process of creating an impact, however small it can be. It doesn't have to be monumental, because if everyone, like he said, creates monumental impact, it's going to be a situation we can't handle. The world can't take it. So that's just it. And everyone once in their life should go through the reverse mentorship process, not just because you get to voice out your opinions or there's someone who's definitely more experienced, has more exposure sitting there trying to learn from you. So that's a great, but it's more so also an humbling experience in a way that you get to learn so much. In fact, I'm being completely honest, you're completely transparent, that I have learned so much from you, and it wasn't even structured. It didn't even come or stem out from a topic. It was more so just flowing out of conversations, coming through naturally. And that advice is actually something that I am working on now. So it's something that is helping me create change
Our secret.
in so many
Yeah, the
avenues.
secret advice.
So that's just the fact that you never know what you can learn from anyone and everyone out there. So just be accepting, just be open, and dive in.
Yeah, that's really very powerful. I mean, thank you for advising, because that's going to be very important for whoever is going to be watching this episode, for the voices to be out there. I mean, the power of conversation cannot be any louder than what we have done today.
True, 100%.
Conversations make differences. They create change. You are advocates. You've experienced it. You've given in your time, your energy, your efforts. So that's really very powerful. My personal advice to all the leaders out there is to go out there and get yourself a reverse mentor. It's a very enriching experience. It's very nurturing, and it's going to open your eyes to so many other avenues that you probably haven't known about yourself or about the generations that you worked with. Get a Gen Alpha maybe as well. Why not? Like get a reverse mentor from a Gen Alpha. So I really highly recommend reverse mentoring, and we're going to be advocating for it more and more.
Yeah,
Always.
absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
for having
such
us.
Thank you.
such a
Cheers.
discussion. You guys,
Let's go.
that was your idea actually to make a podcast about our experience. So it wasn't really
Yes.
mine. I mean, it's
No,
it's-
thank,
we came
thank you
through.
for hopping onto the bus.
yes, I
Yeah.
will. Perfect.
It was a great experience, I have to say.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
always going to be memorable. So yeah,
And also,
cheers.
I think I should add, I think the whole experience and the fact that we went through it together,
Yeah.
I think we became a lot closer.
Oh, wow.
Just like talking about it,
That's amazing.
discussing
Yeah.
it and everything. So thank you for that as
Yeah.
well.
So
It was a bonding.
reverse
Yeah.
mentorship all the way.
All
the way.
till life, till we die.
Excellent. Thank you
Any
so
other
much.
leaders, if you want, you can contact me. Just putting it out there, like.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, good.